Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Talmud Lunch and Learn. It is such a pleasure to be here with all y'all. We're going to share with you, our friends on Facebook, way number 10. We already discussed the first 9 ways of maximizing pleasure in life. And now we're going to share with you the 10th, because today, as you all know, is the 10th day of the Omer. Last night we counted the 10th. So we're going to do the 10th way of maximizing life. All right, what is way number 10? Is to serve the wise man. Now, what is it referring to when it's talking about serve the wise man? So we know that there's a concept called wisdom, where you can learn wisdom from a book. So why do you need to serve the wise man? The idea is that wisdom isn't something dry. Wisdom needs to be something lived. It needs to be something that we experience more than just from a textbook. That means our sages teach us that I learned a lot from my teacher, more from my friends, and from my students the most. Right? You learn from other people, you learn humility, you learn the way they conduct themselves. It's not just what's in the mind. You know, there's a famous story told about Aristotle. Aristotle was known as a world-class philosopher, and he lived a very promiscuous lifestyle, and his students found him in the most compromising of situations and asked him, "Hey, how's it possible you're the great Aristotle? How's it possible you doing what you're doing?" He says, "No, now I'm not Aristotle. Now I'm just me." That doesn't work when you're talking about when you're talking about Torah life, but even in regular life. You can't say, "Well, I'll be honest when I'm in business, but when I'm not in business, it doesn't make a difference. So I'll be honest with my spouse, but I'm not going to be honest." It doesn't work. A person who wants to acquire great qualities needs to be inside and out. The best way for a person to learn is not only with the book, but with that personal example. When you're able to see a sage, a scholar, a Torah scholar, who acts, doesn't only learn and know wisdom and teach wisdom, but acts in a way that's appropriate, and acts a way which is Torah-like, that is the greatest lesson of all. You know, my rabbi of blessed memory, Rabbi Beryl Eisenstein, I was very, very close with him. I was fortunate to learn by him for about 6 or 7 years. And after I got married and we had our first child, he asked me every time I'd call him, he would say, "Hello," I'm like, "Hey, Rabbi, how are you?" And he would say to me, "Great. Are you waking up at night?" I was like, every time I was like, "Yeah, I wake up. My baby cries in the middle of the night, and I pick up my baby, bring him to my wife so she can feed him." And this was a question he'd ask me every time, and I was always wondering, why is he asking me this question? This is the oddest thing. So I asked him. I said, "Why?" So he said to me, "Because if you didn't wake up for your child in the middle of the night, then you're not my student. Because this is the conduct that I expect from my students. This is the conduct that I expect. And if you're not living up to that, then you have no business calling me. You have no business seeking my counsel. And it was a very powerful lesson, that it's more than just, and it's not anything that he's ever told us, but it's something that it was sort of like, we saw great qualities in him, and it was something that we needed to adapt into our daily lives. And it's more that you learn from their actions. When you have a great scholar, when you have a great sage, more than what they say, more than what they show, is in the way they act. And you have to look at it very, very deeply. So there's a lot more than just having wisdom, which we've discussed already. Way number 1 was to learn, and to always be learning, and to always attain wisdom. But now it's more than just wisdom. It's learn from their ways, learn how they interact, learn how they talk to other people with respect and with dignity. There's so much that you can learn about the quality. It says that if you want to see the true Torah sage, you want to see a true Talmid Chacham, or a true tzaddik, look at their actions. Look at the way they interact. So God should bless us all that we should merit, number 1, to be inside and outside the same, and that we should be at a lofty state outside and a lofty state inside, and they should complement each other, and that we should always have a good example of people to learn from, right? Go find that person who has that wisdom and seek out their counsel, learn from their ways, and never stop growing. That is way number 10, and hopefully we'll be able to share way number 11, because tonight, Friday night, we'll be counting the 11th day of the Omer, so we'll hopefully get that shortly. With that, my friends, thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to learning with you again in the near future. Have a lovely Shabbos.